On today's video, let's talk about Grace of SOLUNA, or Grace of Lunaria, I guess, if you're on dark side. This is a brand new mechanic for Light and Darkness, which is kind of like Alliance technology, but it is a camp technology that lasts throughout Light and Darkness and requires all the camp members to help out to level up. In this video, we're going to go over every single buff so you know what's available. From there, we're going to talk about how you can level up these skills, these technologies, by using SOLUNA or Lunaria coins. From there, we're going to talk about which skills you should be leveling up and when, as well as what are the requirements within the tree in order to get the best bang out of your buck. So everything you need to know about this new mechanic in this video. Make sure you drop a like on the video before we start, subscribe to the channel. YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. Today we are going to talk about one of the biggest changes in Light and Darkness, Grace of SOLUNA. I'm assuming it's called Grace of Lunaria if you're on dark side, but I haven't seen it yet. So both sides have the same buffs, everything is the same, but all it is a camp-based technology tree, which you can level up with a new item called SOLUNA or Lunaria coins. The way you get these coins is fairly straightforward. We're going to talk about that as well. We're going to go over all the buffs and everything you need to know about the order in which you need to work on and all that good stuff. All and everything that has to do with this in this video. Before we start though, I'm a sponsored content creator by Rise of Kingdoms, and of course, if you haven't yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get a notification every time we upload a new Rise of Kingdoms video. We've been doing these almost daily for a while now. Here's the thing. Let's start from the beginning. How do you get coins to start leveling up these skills? Well, this is a very straightforward thing. There are 3 ways that I know of to get coins as of right now. The first way, pretty straightforward. You gather. For every tile you gather, you get 3 coins. There was a bug a little bit ago where people thought that if you chain different tiles, you'll get more coins, and it indeed showed that if you chained three tiles, for example, each of them gave you 9 coins instead of 3 because it multiplied every time. But it was just a visual bug. For every node you gather, you get 3 coins. And then the other option there is, which is a much more feasible option, is in here in the honor roll. If we go take a look at individual points, when you defeat barbarians as well as destroy barbarian forts, you get the same amount of honor points and coins. This is an important point for you to remember. You'll know why in a second, but it is pretty straightforward. Defeat barbarians, go gather, or the other option you have is through Light versus Darkness. You can go through these levels, and we're going to talk about this event in a future video coming up, and you can get, from using certain amounts of speed ups or gathering and all that good stuff, more of these coin tiles, which you can then go on to use as well. Why is it important to remember the individual honor points part? Pretty simple. When you go into Grace of SOLUNA and click on any of these, so let's go, I don't know, here, you'll notice that with 100 coins, what you do is you get potentially 10 points towards the skill readiness, I guess, experience, whatever you want to call it. 100 points, sorry, not 10. But you also get 100 individual honor points per donation. So 100 coins gives you 100 individual honor point, which means if you get 10 honor points for a level 36 through 40 barbarian and 10 coins as well, then really you're doubling up the amount of honor point you get per barbarian. Why? Because now you're not only getting 10 points in terms of individual honor points, but you're also getting 10 coins, which you can then convert into 10 individual honor points by donating them. However, it gets a little trickier than that, because on top of you getting 100% return on value per se on the individual honor points, in here you can actually crit, which means you can click once and get a 2 times, a 5 times, or a 10 times, which means out of 100 coins, by hunting 10 barbarians 36 through 40, you could potentially crit and get another 1,000 individual honor points pretty much for free. This is how everybody has been doing crazy with their honor roll, because all they're doing is hunting barbarians like they usually did, except that now they are donating their coins, SOLUNA coins, for this and hitting massive crits, which are giving them huge amounts of extra individual honor points. Imagine the crazy luck of getting 10 times out of 50 coins, getting the 10 times 20 times. That's 20,000 individual points right there. It's kind of nuts. It can get really crazy. Out of 50 donations, you end up with 20,000 extra points. That could be bonkers. And it is happening. People are hitting 300, 400,000 individual honor points. Once you've collected all these coins and you're ready to donate, all you do is you click on whichever one you want to donate and click donate, and that's that. Hope for the best. Now, the tree is built in a really interesting way. It seems like it isn't built correctly, quote unquote, because you would think that what you want is really the attack, defense, and all these buffs at the end quicker. But I want to remind you that as of right now, it is I think day 10 or day 9 on this Lost Kingdom, and there has not been a single fight yet. But there has been a lot of barbarian hunting and a lot of gathering. So as much as it seems a little bit counterintuitive to not level these up first, my recommendation is to start from the beginning, and you'll see why once we go now over all the buffs. So really quickly, the first buff we have here is gathering speed goes up to 40%. 20 levels, all of them bringing you up to 40%. Swift stride, march speed of up to 20%. Each level brings you up another 1%. From there, if you chose to go with the gathering speed, you have Commander XP gain, which can take you also up to 20% extra XP. Rejuvenation will give you 20% extra action point recovery. And from there, Infantry, Cavalry, Archers, and Siege attack can go all the way up to 20%, each of them being the same exact thing pretty much. Defense for each troop type as well goes up to 20%, 1 per level. And then finally, the final 3 skills, finally 3 extra technology buffs you get are a nice little attack boost all the way up to 10% when it's maxed. Combustion increases the burning speed of your opposition's buildings all the way to an extra 60%. And finally, Harden keeps you and your buildings a little extra durable for an additional 40% once maxed out. So if we were in a mode where war was very early on, I would say this is less significant and this is more important. But since we've seen so far that people have gotten to about day 10 and probably more than that without fighting, my personal recommendation to you guys is to work as followed. In the beginning of Light and Darkness, the first week of Light versus Darkness is all about gathering. And so investing quite heavily early on the gathering speed might give you a better advantage early on for that specific event. And so having a good balance of barbarian hunting early on so you can get this early on and get that event going is super, super important. Now, before we continue in here, I'm going to put an asterisk on that thought and go on a tangent really quickly. Light and Darkness changed the way Lost Kingdom works in general. It's all about, in the early stages, gathering and barbarian hunting and a lot of honor gaining. So having the first week being strictly gathering or strictly barbarian hunting is not a thing anymore, and it's even more than that. Back in the day, we tried to save our action points until the second stage when you could start hitting levels 31 and above. But nowadays, you get 36s and above as well in Zone 4 and 31s and above for sure. And so there is no point in saving AP for the later stages. As a matter of fact, in this mode, hit the ground running with barbarians is super, super important. And you'll notice that, like I noticed, that at some point in time, your Zone 4 will be so crowded that people will not find, you won't find anywhere to gather. And I've found a situation where I couldn't gather because there was nothing to gather. And so this account cannot go hunt barbarians, but you can. And so the point is, from the moment you land, it is critical for you to start either hunting barbarians or gathering. And when you have your coins, as quickly as possible, dump them into bumper season. Leveling up Bumper Season and Swift Stride is a win-win situation for you guys. Why is that? More march speed means you get in and out of those tiles faster, as well as you move around the map quicker to hunt those barbarians even more. So the first recommendation out of me is get these guys up as quickly as possible. If you're telling me, Gekko, I'd like to first get 1 level on each level just so I can unlock the whole tree, sure, but it's a waste of time, really. You don't really need all of this until a much later stage of the game. Remember, each kingdom out of the 4 can donate to this, which means really you can divide and conquer. You can decide one kingdom's in charge of this, that kingdom's in charge of that, and then divide the way you work, or you can, as 4 kingdoms, work towards the same goal. In my opinion, these 2 are crucial to level up first. From there, in Proficiency, I really wouldn't go more than 1 level unless you really, really have to. Quite frankly, if you got to this stage and Commander XP matters to you, I don't see the point. But if you think that leveling up Commanders is what you need right now, sure, I guess. I wouldn't invest much in this until much, much, much later. Rejuvenation, on the other hand, is one that I would say if I were to divide and conquer, I'd put 3 kingdoms to level this up to max as quickly as possible. As you can see, these guys have maxed it out. This is, I guess, a little bit of a mistake, but these 3 have been maxed out, and these guys in this camp are really enjoying the benefits out of it. Now here comes the big pickle, and that is, where do you invest in here? And the bottom line is, there is no one answer. The way I would go about this is based on the current meta, as well as the coming meta that's going to happen during your Mightiest Governor, your Lost Kingdom. What I mean by meta, I mean that when Attila Takeda came out, the meta was very heavy on cavalry, because they were obviously the strongest pairing of commanders we've ever seen. And so if you are someone who has the ability to max out and be ahead of the meta, of course you'd like to have your cavalry maxed out too, so as soon as those commanders come out, you're doing the extra damage. On the flip side of it, if you're someone who knows that this meta is coming, you might want to also get your counter attackers up there. So if the current meta is cavalries, I would expect to see cavalry and infantry being worked on a bit more than archers per se. If the current meta is infantry, then I would assume that you'd work more on infantry and archers as the counter attackers of whatever of the current meta is, as well as working on the next meta. And so I think that out of these, what I would recommend is to start from where the current meta is, and obviously work from there into the counter of that meta, and from there go on to the next stuff. Now remember, these skills right here are super important. Attack is for any type of troop, and you want to make sure you destroy as well as hold on to buildings as quickly as possible, and as long as possible in terms of defense. But there is no reason for you to invest back here in the early stages. This is more significant once you start duking out flags and fortresses, which will take a good week and a half. We haven't seen yet how long it'll take to get here. And on top of that, troop attack is nice when you're hunting barbarians, I guess, but you don't really need it. I would not invest anything down here, but I would strictly go up here, work on these as quickly as possible based on the meta and what's shifting in the game, and then go towards these right here. Is it worth it to dump all your SOLUNAs early on? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this will get maxed out eventually, and that's that. But again, I don't see a reason to hold on to them if you can get an extra couple of percentages along the way to do whatever you're doing anyway. So to wrap this video up, the way you get coins is by gathering, hunting barbarians, or doing quests in Light and Darkness. Pretty straightforward. Light versus Darkness, sorry. You donate these and hope and pray to get good crits, so you get awesome individual honor points back. You want to get into the battlefield and hit the ground running with the gathering and barbarian hunting as quickly as possible, so you can level these up and get yourself an advantage. And you want to make sure you are leveling up these 3 as quickly as possible first, and from there working on whatever will be the meta you intend to use, as well as how to counter potential meta that your opposition will be using. And as you get closer and closer to that zone 7, ramp up the barbarian hunting. Now there is more areas to hunt. It's easier to find more barbarians, ramp up the barbarian hunting and work on these guys right here. If you are someone who knows you are the underdog, the weaker side of the two who are going to fight each other out, you might want to hold on to defense more than the combustion. And yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it. I don't necessarily think anything in this video is going to change, but there's definitely going to be more things we learn as this event progresses. We still have 33 long days to go, so I might make a follow-up video to this video, and I'll link it up on the card on the top right in case that happens. But as of right now, that's my recommendation to you guys. Hit the ground running, get these gathering, march speed, and AP recovery done as quickly as possible, and from there, start working on countering the meta / working on your meta and making sure you are doing things to win, essentially. What do you think about this new mode? What do you think about the fact that now you essentially get double honor points for the same cost as previously? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, anything as well, in the comments down there, as well as on Discord. Linked in the description down below is our Discord group. We're almost at 2,600 members. Thank you guys for supporting the Discord and joining it. We also have tons of Light and Darkness and Lost Kingdom in general information in there as well. I'm Gekko, I'm out of here. Thank you all again for being awesome, continually supporting the channel, dropping likes, commenting, asking questions. I'm always trying to reply to you guys. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care. Peace.